Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan, and today we're going to look at Scotch, maybe like the Scotch in the mindset of many people. When many Americans, anyways, think of Scotch, they're going to either tend to think of Johnny Walker or maybe Macallan. And largely, if you're thinking of Macallan, it's because they got a hell of a good marketing campaign. They're in movies, they're in TV shows, they're in all kinds of stuff, and they work really hard to get their name out there. And so, because of that, a lot of people are familiar, maybe not with the flavor or the profile, but at least with the name. And in this world, name brand is everything. So, this is the first Macallan that I'm doing. It might be the only one I do. I don't know. It's taken me this long to break down and buy a bottle of it. Now, it is a Highland Scotch, but it's largely a Speyside, which if you're not already familiar, Speyside is often considered part of the Highland region. And so it's only when a distillery wants to distinguish themselves something different that they'll say that they're a Speyside distillery. And the Macallan name is owned by Edrington, and that Edrington and Macallan is known specifically for sherry cask finish scotches. They've had their hands in a ton of different whiskeys, many that I have reviewed in the past. As far as Scotch goes, the Highland Parks, the famous Grouse, the Smoky Black one that I did. I think they have a coalition with Beam Suntory, the Naked Grouse, which I think I have right here. This Naked Grouse, it's a finished, what is it? It's a blended malt. And it's a finished blended malt. It has a sherry cask finish in it. Same with the Noble Oak. Noble Oak is, sorry, I keep coming back to my spreadsheet here of different whiskeys that this is where I have all my prices and everything that I kind of look at. But Edrington, they have a small hand. They bought a portion of shares out of the Wyoming Whiskey Distillery, but also Noble Oak. So both the bourbon and the rye, those are finished whiskeys as well. So check out all those reviews on this channel if you want to get familiar with the Edrington group. As far as this Macallan, it's a double cask, so it is finished in matured exclusively in the perfect balance of hand-picked sherry-seasoned American and European oak casks. It's 12 years old. It also is the cheapest Macallan that I can get here locally. In one of our liquor stores, it's like $59 and change. In the cheapest liquor store here in town, I was able to pick this particular one up for $55.49. So it's still a fairly expensive Scotch. Well, let me rephrase that. As far as Scotches go, it's a reasonable or cheap Scotch. I would say the majority of Scotches don't even start until the mid $40, $50, $60 price range. Like if you go back and look at all the Lafroigs and the Ardbegs and Lagavulins and other Scotches that I've tried and reviewed on this channel, you'll see they're largely in that $40 to $60 range. So this fits neatly right in there. Unless you're talking about budget Scotches like Monkey Shoulder, Sheep Dip, which I haven't reviewed yet. And then I did some of those Scotches under $10 if you check out my Whiskey Under $10 videos. So with all those aside, you're kind of right in the middle ballpark, but if you're looking at whiskey as a whole, $55 is it's a fair bit of money to be spending on a bottle. When you look at the bourbon selection you can get for under $55 and the age class and quality of bourbon that you can get, same with the ryes, you got a lot of competition there. It's just a matter of what kind of flavor profile you're looking for and stuff. But 12-year, most Scotch, in my opinion, doesn't really hit its stride until you hit that 10 to 20-year mark. Most of the Islas that I've reviewed kind of are in that ballpark. Some of the exceptions to that are any of the McClellans or McLelands. I don't know how you want to pronounce it. Those, I believe, are only 3 years old. The Highland, I've reviewed the Highland, the Lowland, and the Isla. I think all those are very good for what they are. They could be better if they were matured longer, but considering they're only 3 years, I'll drink them all day long. And, if you got a Total Wine by you, you might be able to pick it up for $17 a bottle. You can't go wrong with that. So there's some thoughts on that. So here we go. Let's get into this bottle. I did try it out. They do have beautiful packaging, nice labels. They have a nice bottle design. It's they're trying to hit that "we're better than everybody" mark, and they do a good job with the marketing on that. Their label seal has like money does, kind of it's not a watermark. I don't know what you call it, but that iridescent mark on there was sealed. Plus, it has a QR code to track it. That's kind of interesting. The cap, it's a plastic cap. The tamper-proof seal is connected all the way around when I got it. It's just interesting. I will say their bottle pours really shittily. I don't know what you want to say. Because of the difference between the top of the bottle and then there's a lip and then a secondary lip from the tamper seal on there. I don't know. It pours really crappily. There you go. I'm just going to make up all kinds of terms. So I'm not a fan of that. But from far away, okay, so Speyside, if there's nothing to know about Speyside other than butterscotch, keep that in mind. It's butterscotch. If you don't remember anything else, butterscotch is kind of the name of the game when it comes to Speyside. You can get some smoke and some peat, some ashiness in there, some seaside, sea salt brininess to it from time to time. But if there's one note that I can say without a doubt, if you're hitting down that butterscotch, you don't necessarily know you're in Speyside, but if you know you're in Speyside, you're going to find the butterscotch. I get that out of this glass, even from way out here, along with a heavy malt forward, very similar to the Highland Park, which is also Edrington's company. So I get a heavy malt, a heavy butterscotch. I don't know if it's just my imagination or not, but I get a little bit of briny swamp. So think of a tidal flat when it's low tide, where you get kind of the algae and the seaweed and the saltiness of that. I get a bit of that in there, kind of tucked into the back. Maybe a dark fruit, or a raisin type of smell. Yeah, you can pick out some of that sherry cask impact of that dark fruit in there. Now, just the smell of it is making my salivary glands engage, and it's that salty component that's kind of triggering that. It's not overly powerful in the nose or very dense in quality. All the notes are fairly light, easy to smell. You know what I didn't say? So 12 years old, but it's also 43% ABV, so it's 86 proof. I forgot to mention that. But that butterscotch and malt is dominating for me. The palate goes malt, sweet, caramel, hint of butterscotch. Then it goes really dry an ethanol ding in there. It kind of dries out and it has a bit of a, maybe like a sour or a bitterness that kind of pushes into the finish. And that would be a dry sherry cask impact that I'm picking up. So it tastes, if you've ever got like dry cooking sherry wine and just tasted that, that's the exact flavor profile that picks up that middle palate. You finish out with a touch of oak in there, underlaying with that sherry sweetness. So if you want to pick apart that sherry flavor, I could give you like maybe some raisin, some dark plum. The sweetness might be like a plummy sweetness, or like if you've ever had Slivovitz, that kind of a sweet mix with a heavy ethanol ding. Or, I mean, literally, if you go to your fridge and take a little taste of that sherry, that exact flavor profile is kind of mixed into that middle palate on here. In the nose, it went from butterscotch to a heavy malt, and then leaned in a little bit more to that salt flat brininess and seaweed kind of a smell. And then like that raisin, dark dried fruit kind of came forward a bit more too. Second sip, bit sweeter, almost a little bit nutty and creamy forward. The dry factor kind of tamped down. Instead of being a sherry dryness, it's an ethanol dryness that kind of hit, followed into a nice sweet salted caramel flavor. Heavy emphasis with that salt impact on there. It's very nice. I like it. It's an easy drinking whiskey. It's a good little sipper. $55.49 here locally. Not bad. Little expensive. I'd like to see it in the 40s. But you know what? It's not terrible at that price. And I would, if I had the choice, I would lean you into Monkey Shoulder before going into this. If you like Monkey Shoulder and you want to step that up a little bit and get a little bit more of that sherry impact, again, go to the fridge, taste a dry sherry. If you like that flavor, go and pick up a bottle of this Macallan 12 double cask. It's a nice drinking whiskey. I enjoy it thoroughly. I don't think that if I was a rich person like they show in all the movies, Macallan would be where I'd be leaning. But you know what? To each his own. As always, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the little notification bell if you haven't already. Check out Life and Whiskey on BitchUte, Rumble, Minds if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're watching this on any of those other platforms, check us out in other places. Videos drop earlier on all those platforms other than YouTube. YouTube, I have, if you've watched videos on BitchUte, you'll know that those videos are months and months ahead of YouTube. Like YouTube, I have videos scheduled all the way out to the summer of 2023. It is currently Super Bowl weekend in 2022, and yeah, that's just how things are going. And as always, I appreciate everybody who's watched this. If you think there's somebody out there who might appreciate these videos, go ahead and share this video with them. And as always, drop a comment down below. Let me know what your experience is with the Macallan 12-year double cask and what you can find a bottle for in your area. As always, don't feel like you have to go out and buy it. Just take note of what prices are in your area. I like the idea of trying to catalog prices around different regions and states. You know, if somebody's out traveling, maybe they'll be able to go pick up something a little bit cheaper than in their home region. So there you go. As always, thanks for watching. I do greatly appreciate you guys. Have yourselves a great day, and we'll catch you in the next video.